Hey, has this ever happened to you? You ever be watching one of your favorite Bond movies and then friends and critics will try to tell you that it's bad and you're wrong, and you're like, what's bad and who's wrong? And they're like, Quantum of Solace is bad and you're wrong. And you're like, there's no way. I watched this movie a bunch of times. It's really good. And they're like, and they start to break it down and make sure that you know that it is a bad movie. So every time you watch it, you try to watch it in a more critical lens to see that it is actually a bad movie. But every time you watch it, it gets better and better. Then you realize it's one of the most misunderstood Bond movies in 007 history. Then you find out that those friends and critics were communists anyway. Has that ever happened to you? Well, if it has, then this is the podcast for you. Start the music.
You just got well, actually. Pow, 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 pow. What the fuck?
That was weird. Welcome to Well, Actually, a podcast for nerds who think they know everything about Quantum of Solace, the sequel to Casino Royale, a direct sequel. Something that's never been done in Bond movie history ever. Every Bond movie is technically a sequel from the last one, but this one is an actual direct sequel, continuing the story from Casino Royale, from the last Bond movie. We got the blonde bombshell Daniel Craig, steely blue eyes. It's dirtier, it's grittier. The whole world is sick. What? I'm your host, Kane Holloway, a.k.a. Candy Kane, a.k.a. Sugar Kane, a.k.a. Michael Kane, a.k.a. Dean Kane, a.k.a. fucking Ichabod Kane, Kane the Conqueror, Kane who remains, he who recains, and I'll be Kane. Kane and Abel, and of course King Annabelle. Hello everyone. No Holly and Brad today. It's a solo episode for me. Quantum of Solace is one of my favorite Bond movies. One of them. I think they are. I think they are. Daniel Craig has more good than bad, I would say. And hey, that's a hot take, baby. We're gearing up for No Time to Die, the sequel that comes out this weekend. Or it came out whenever you're listening to this, and you're like, I want to revisit Quantum of Solace. And you should. Go back and rewatch Quantum of Solace and then listen to this episode and try to prove me wrong. Try to tell me why it's bad. You won't be able to do it, okay? Because I've had people, friends, family members, all try to tell me that it's a bad movie. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're wrong. You are. Get off my dick. Before we get into the episode, hey, I just want to let you guys know that if you love our show, please go to iTunes and review it. 5 stars. Give us a nice little blurb. Tell us what you loved, what episode you came aboard. You know, what movie or TV show or comic book or obscure British or Australian murder drama did we cover that you were like, oh, I like this show. I'm going to start listening from the very beginning. Put it all in your review to the show. We would really appreciate it. Go if you want to contact us about any future episodes, things you want to hear, the past episodes that you love to hear. You just want to say, hey, love that episode, or hey, you got this wrong, or hey, these are my thoughts. Go to Well Actually Pod on Instagram and DM us. You can contact us there. While you're there, we also, Holly crushes that. She took over that Instagram page, and she fills it to the brim with nerd news, upcoming episodes. She's just a baller, straight baller. And so go over and follow Well Actually Pod, and we would really appreciate it. And if another way to support the show, go to patreon.com/wellactuallypod. We have bonus episodes there. I may or may not be doing a Venom review, because Venom Let There Be Carnage, I saw it. I had at least one feeling about it, and I may or may not be doing that. I'll let you guys know when I tell Holly that I'm doing that, and then Holly will fucking give us the promotion. So go over and do all that, patreon.com/wellactuallypod or at wellactuallypod on Instagram. Quantum of Solace. Let's do some quick fun facts about Quantum of Solace before we get into it. But why don't we do a quick synopsis of the story? Why don't we do that, Kane? Like you've never podcasted before. Get it together, man. Well, it takes place right after the first one, Casino Royale. First Daniel Craig Bond movie, not the Sean Connery one. That would be weird. Bond, he's just going crazy. You know, Bond is absolutely on a kill crazy rampage this entire movie. It starts off at a car chase scene that takes place directly after Bond shoots and kidnaps Mr. White. Not Heisenberg, but some other white criminal. And so then they chase through the hills. I think they're in Italy. I don't know. They go to like 12 places in this. They go to like 12 different countries in this movie. And Bond takes him to a warehouse to be grilled by M, only to be set free because his organization known as Quantum has got people everywhere. We have people everywhere. And of course he's set free because they're so powerful that they have a guy inside the MI6. Apparently there's moles everywhere. There's rats. Their whole families is rats. And then Bond he goes to a new place where he's supposed to meet a guy, and then that guy gets killed. So then Bond gets a briefcase and meets a girl. Then that girl leads him to the main bad guy, and then Bond just sort of follows that guy everywhere until him and the girl are in a big hotel firefight, and then then Bond finds what he was ultimately trying to find the entire movie, his revenge, and that's what the movie's about, his revenge. And the toll it takes on the rest of the world, his quantum of solace. And we'll get to that. And then the movie ends. And then Skyfall, and then Spectre, right? Yeah, then No Time to Die. Yeah, that's how it goes. So that's the basic overall idea of the movie. Real simple. And I think that's what people hate most about it, is maybe it's a little convoluted, but if you try to break down the story, it seems pretty simple. This movie's about environmentalism, eco-terrorism, maybe? No. Yeah, why not? What I love about this movie is what I loved about the last movie, is that the villain's plot is not this big world-ending. Almost every Bond movie is about some guy in power trying to rule or destroy the Earth, which, when you think about it, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because, hey, guys, you live here too, okay? Why would you want to destroy the world? You also live on the world. Don't you want to... it makes sense when Thanos wants to snap half the universe away. He don't live here. He does. When he's on fucking Titan's fucked anyway. And he just... And then he goes and lives on a farm. And nobody lives in that planet. There's no... It's just him on that planet. Of course, why wouldn't he... his plan makes sense. But you guys don't have spaceships. Hey, Blofeld, you don't got a fucking spaceship, or you don't have the Infinity Stones, or you're not a wizard. You can't just go to... You're not fucking Rick Sanchez. You can't go to another universe and chill over there. Bitch, you live here. Stop trying to fuck it up. But Dominic Green's whole plan is he wants water. He wants to control the water. And he wants to make sure that the new government, the new head of government in Bolivia, that because he's in power and he helped get him to power, that he uses Dominic Green and Green Planet, the industry, to be utilities supervisor for all of Bolivia. Hey, you guys have water problems. We got control of the water. We're going to create a drought, and therefore that gives us the power and you incentive to use what is now legally our water that you didn't know was down there. How you didn't know it was down there doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. How Dominic knew there was water down there doesn't make a whole lot of sense. How'd they find the water? But whatever. You got to dig to find water. You got to dig to find oil, and that's the whole red herring. Everyone thinks it's oil that they're going after. And the plot starts off with, it's never expressly said until like I would say 40 minutes into the movie, but James is on. He's trying to find Vesper's ex-boyfriend. Was now technically ex because Vesper drowned, so they're not dating anymore. Yikes. Anyway, he's trying to find the boyfriend. He faked his death and he moves on to he's kicking around somewhere. So Bond is trying to find him, and the only way to find him is to find who Lashif was working with. So they're going to grill Mr. White. What's Mr. White in charge of, or what does he do in this secret organization? Well, we find out that he's one of many pawns within the grand scheme of things that you think is run by Dominic Green. But apparently there's people, he's technically still middle management. You thought Lashif was the big bad? No. Then it's the next guy. You thought it was Mr. White? It's not Mr. White. It's Dominic Green. Now, we don't know who's in charge until Spectre, and then it all fucking falls apart. We can get to the bad of the movie. What the bad of this movie is, the plot sort of just comes to James, and he doesn't have to work all that hard. Like they find out Mitchell is a mole, and he kills Mitchell before he can. Bond kills everybody before any answers can be made. Which he's on a revenge rampage, so he's not really thinking with his. He's not really using this guy. He's not using his brain. For those listening and not watching, he's using his heart, and his heart is broken. His little Bondy heart is broken, and so he needs some vengeance. And so he kills Mitchell before asking him any quantum questions, and that's what they'll be referred to going forward. Hey, do you have quantum questions? I have quantum questions. And then he goes to Haiti, where he meets with a guy who looks very similar to him. And that's a funny sort of through line of this is anytime Bond finds himself in a pickle that he himself has caused, don't worry, because he looks like the guy he just killed. He goes in to meet this dude. I can't even remember his name. He's not there to meet him. He's there to like infiltrate his room and maybe see who he is and what he does for the quantum organization. He's got quantum questions for this guy. But then the guy pulls a knife and they get into a fight, and then Bond cuts his neck and he bleeds from the back of his head. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense how this dude dies. Anyway, he dies. But guess what? He's blonde, blue-eyed, kind of the same stature. And so James just wears his jacket and he goes downstairs to the desk where the front desk woman, he goes up and he goes, hey, is there any messages for 325? And without checking who he is or if he's even in that hotel room, she's like, yeah, check it out. We have a briefcase. Someone left a briefcase. Remember? Didn't we tell you about the briefcase guy who looks like the guy? And he goes, oh, yeah, I'll take that case. And then for some odd reason, James just leaves the hotel without opening the briefcase. Why don't you just open the briefcase first, see what's in it, and then start walking? Where are you going? But, hey, coincidence, the moment he walks outside with the briefcase, the plot rolls up. and it's Camille. And Camille rolls around the corner to be like, hey, get in the car. And without thinking twice, he gets in the car and she's like, you don't look like I thought you'd look. And he's like, well, what do you think I look like? And while she's driving, having full peripheral vision, he opens up her purse to take out her ID to find out who she is. I don't know how she didn't see that. If you see somebody's hands like getting close to your side, you can even feel that. Even if you're not really fully paying attention using your peripheral vision, you can feel when someone's hand is too close to you. You'd be like, hey, dog, what you doing? Hey, get the fuck out of my purse. So he then opens the briefcase in the car. But James is just improvising. He's really just, he has no idea. And he looks like he's just having, he's so good at his job. He's like, I don't really need to do any research. You guys tell me where to go, and then I'll figure it out when I get there. And he opens the briefcase, gives her documents. They're all blank pages. And then you find out there's a picture of the girl and a gun. And he's like, oh, it looks like somebody wants you dead. Well, who could want her dead? Maybe the guy in charge? So she shoots at James. He's like, whatever, I'll get out. He's really casual about it. And she takes off. And it's such a weird scene because she's in an electric car. And that scene always makes me laugh. He opens the briefcase, looks down, and goes, looks like somebody wants to kill you. And she pulls out a gun and goes past his face, and he blocks her hand. She fires. He then knocks the gun out of her hand, opens the door, and gets out. And then she drives away in her electric car, and you just hear, me. It's so funny. Get the fuck out of my car right now. I'm leaving. I gotta go find who's trying to kill me. Me. I love it so much. So then he hijacks a dude's motorcycle and follows her. And she was able to spot the guy in the motorcycle beforehand, but now that Bond is on the motorcycle, man, her focus is all fucked up. She has no idea who's on that motor. She doesn't know Bond is following her. And she goes, for some reason, this is another thing that's a little confusing. For some reason, when she finds out that the main bad guy is the guy that tried to kill her, she goes back to his hideout, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Why would you go back? If he tried to kill you, wouldn't you be on the run? Like your plan, whatever your plan is, whatever your position you think you have in the Dominic Green gang, whatever you think you have now, it's fucking over, you know? But she's so hell-bent on finding General Medrano that she just goes back and she's like, hey, what the fuck? Why'd you try to kill me? I'm down ass. Why the fuck would you try to kill me? And he's like, oh, well, now that I see you, super glad that didn't happen. Gotta thank your lucky stars on this one, baby. Praise be to the Almighty that you're fine. And then Dominic tells he tells a really weird story where he doesn't like moles. I mean, who does? No one likes moles. And she's like, I was trying to find out who the mole was when she's the mole. And that's what moles do. If you ever think you got a mole in your organization, find out that the way to find a mole is to see the person looking for the mole. Oh my God, maybe it's you. You are looking for moles? Maybe you're the mole. But that's how finding moles. If you've seen The Departed, you know that if the mole is if you're looking for the mole, if you're a mole exterminator, you're probably the mole. If he looks like a mole and he smells like a mole, I've said mole so many times. Mole. Okay, anyway, so so then he shows Camille the dead body of a geologist who apparently was trying to sell Dominic's secrets or something, and it's never really made clear why that dude was killed and how he's an informant, and he's a fucking geologist. He's not even a spy. Dominic kills him, but to illustrate his point, since the dead body doesn't do it, he's like, when I was little, I had a crush on one of my mother's piano students, and I one day heard her saying nasty things about me, and then I took an iron, and then he stops talking and shows her the dead body. So it's implied that he killed her with an iron, But I like to think that he just used that opportunity to like freshen up his clothes, you know? And maybe that's what he heard. Like she was talking shit about how wrinkly his shirts are. And he's like, I heard her saying some nasty things about my wardrobe. So I took an iron and I got rid of those lines in my shirts and I looked fresh to death. She's my wife now. Anyway, here's my dead geologist. And then a lot of like really goofy things happen in this whole sequence. Like it feels like there should have been a cut to a different day or something else should have happened. So this part feels kind of weird. Bond rolls up in his motorcycle, sees Camille. Camille leads him to Dominic Green. So he then gives the main guard a card. Or one of the guards at the gate. The guard gets a card from Bond. Bond says, "Hey, tell that girl to give me a call." And then he leaves. So Dominic Green's main henchman comes rolling up. And he's like, "Who is that?" And the guy's like, "I don't know. He just gave me this card." So then the guy, the main henchman, calls the number on the card, goes to Bond's phone, and then now Bond is able to track their movements. And then when he hangs up the phone, he looks at the guard and he's like, "Pay attention next time," and then leaves. That's a really confusing scene and sequence because why, if you're trying to be covert, Bond, what are you doing? Why are you showing your face? 2, why would that guy call that number? If you're a suspicious Aloysius at all in any capacity, why the fuck wouldn't you just throw that card away? You're there to double check this guy's work. And the first thing you do is do the thing that gets you fucked over, and then you get mad at him. Pay attention what? The number you called, by the way, went to an office, and the office seemed legit. It makes the card more legitimate. How the fuck did that guy fuck up? What was he supposed to do? No card, no thank you? You came over and grabbed the card and called. He didn't do anything. Now, if he was the one that called the number, yeah, okay, get mad at him. You called the number. You're the reason you're getting caught currently at this moment. That guy was just fucking doing his job. He's meant to guard the gate. What do you think? What's one of the rules of guarding the gate? Don't accept anyone's cards. We had no solicitors. You know, a guy comes up to ask a question. You tell him to fuck off or shoot him in the leg. The guy seemed to be doing his job anyway. So now Bond is able to track him. Now, again, without really understanding the situation fully, for some reason, Camille goes with General Medrano, who is working with Dominic to start a coup with the current president to put General Medrano in power. If Dominic helps him with that, then he will sell him this plot of land that Medrano says you won't find any oil. And without showing his hand, Dominic says, yeah, well, whatever, we'll see. But that's the deal. And he goes, I'll give you Camille. You know Camille. You did something horrible to her mother and sister and shot her dad and then set the house on fire. You remember her? Vaguely. I do a lot of horrible things. I vaguely remember that. Well, anyway, she wants to go with you. Oh, okay, cool. I sense no danger. Why would that ring any alarm bells? And Camille's very willing. She is so thirsty for Medrano that it's painted so thick on her face that Dominic's like, I know that you're just fucking me to get to Medrano. I'm well aware of the fact that you just want to get with Medrano. Okay, and you don't have any other follow-up questions? Like, hey, why Medrano? I'm the one putting him in power. So if anybody has, like, if you think this girl's a gold digger, right? Like, what do you think? It's never expressly said what Dominic thinks she wants from him. You just want to fuck Medrano? Like, what's the point? And then Dominic says to Medrano, hey, throw her off the side of the boat when you're done with her. And then That then triggers Bond to go save Camille from Medrano's clutches while on a boat. And this scene confuses me because, hey man, you don't know what, you didn't hear that. You don't know what's going on. Why are you in this girl's business? You don't know she's in danger. You have no idea that she's in danger. But he hops on a boat and he crashes in the boat, then he saves her. And now he's really shown his face. Now everybody knows what Bond looks like and who he is. He's the worst spy. He's the worst spy ever. Then he gets Camille in the boat, and then she gets knocked unconscious, and he boats away. And then another confusing thing happens because she seems sort of important. Right, important enough to get herself killed. So what could she possibly know? She knows something, right? Enough to get her killed. So you'd maybe think like, all right, well, why does he want her dead? Maybe she knows why. Why did she go back? I got so many questions for this person. And so instead of waiting for her to wake up and ask her any of those questions, he hands her unconscious body off to a fucking deckhand and then leaves and fucking starts tracking Dominic Green. It's like, she could be a fucking ally. Why didn't you wait? It doesn't make any sense. And also, if you're tracking him. It's not like you're going to lose him. It's like, it would make more sense if you're like, I have to choose between following Dominic or waiting for this girl to wake up. If I wait for her to wake up, I could lose the trail. So I just gotta go. I gotta go follow Dom. But you're tracking him. You know where he's gonna be at all times. That guy always has his phone on. You even then call MI6 to tell MI6, hey, it's Dominic Green. Now you guys can track him. I got his name. And so you track him. Now I don't have to track him. And then you just tell me where to go. And then, can you do that part? Hey, can you guys do some heavy lifting? Because I got to ask this girl a bunch of questions. Instead, he's just like, here you go, dog. And then fucking steals a car, takes off to go to an airstrip so that we can see a scene where Dominic gets into an airplane with the CIA, who Dominic is in cahoots with because he promised if the CIA and the American government look the other way on the coup in Bolivia, then, they can get their cut of whatever oil they find. And they're going to have to verify the findings. Okay. And here comes another issue with Dominic's plan. If you know there's no oil down there, if you're certain with 100%, you have 100% certainty, and we find out later because Dominic has been blasting holes in these sinkholes to find this fucking water. He finds the water, so Dominic knows for sure there's water down there. But rather than tell anybody about it, and he's doing that before he owns the land. So if he knows there's no oil, which is what America, and they even bring it up in the movie, America went to war with Afghanistan and Iraq for oil. Like they even say that shit. So if you know there's no oil, what is your plan when America wants its oil? What do you plan on doing? Like, how do you plan on appeasing the American government? Don't you think that may be a flawed system? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because later on, because when you find out they have no intention of giving them anything, Quantum has a meeting at an opera with earpieces, and this is where they have an inconspicuous meeting where they're all talking during this opera about the findings without expressly saying that it's water. And so, again, we're led to believe that it's oil that they're talking about. And one guy even says, what are you going to do for the Americans when they find out we're not giving them fucking dick? And then it's just like one guy. First of all, that's rude. It's just have a bunch of people going, no, I have no objections. I have no objections. Do you think there's people around that are there to see the play that going like, hey, shh, trying to fucking, please? Could you guys, oh my God, it's up there too? Hey, we're watching the play. Yeah, I know the music is pretty loud, but you keep it down. You guys have been talking incessantly. Yeah, okay, I understand it's important, but do it some other time. We're trying to enjoy a play. You know, we got a babysitter. Me and my husband, we spent so much money on these tickets. Could you guys please keep it down? Shh! Don't shush me. Don't shush me. I'm shushing them. I'm shushing. They're being loud. They're the ones oh, okay. Gang up on me. Gang up on me. I'm trying to be the good guy here. I'm shushing the people talking. I'm only talking to tell them to stop talking. Okay. All right. We're leaving. Jesus Christ. Come on, Harold. Come on, Harold. No, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed now. I don't want to do this. We're leaving. We'll just go see a movie. Yeah, I know we can't go to that movie because I'm always yelling at people who are talking. I know. We'll talk about it in couples counseling. Harold, get your jacket. We're getting the fuck out of here. God. And so during that whole sequence, it's one guy's whole job to figure out what he's going to give the Americans in return for not giving them oil. But that's never said. So what was the plan? The last group you want to be in bed with and then fuck over is the CIA. What are you guys, insane? What the fuck was your plan? Terrible idea. And so you find out after James is always on the run. Like there's sort of a through line with Daniel Craig's Bond where he's sort of always on the outs with his own team and they have to go get him. And so normally they'd send like a group of people to go get him, right? Don't you think? But for some reason they send this girl, they send Mrs. Fields into the field who has no field experience. Which is really bizarre because if you were trying to get the number one agent in your secret British intelligence agency, what am I trying to say? If you're trying to get that guy back, not only is he hardened from combat, he's hardened from his broken heart. And we all know, or at least you guys all suspect, that he's very, very, very upset over what happened with Vespa. And he's taking no prisoners. Why send a fucking desk jockey to go pick him up? She's like, I'm here to arrest you, Mr. Bond. I'm here to turn you around and put you back on an airplane, back over to MI6 where you will answer for your crimes. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. In fact, come with me. And then she's like, oh, okay, well, I guess assumed this would happen because now we have a cover story where I am now part of your team and we are teachers on sabbatical. But why? Why is there a cover story? I thought you were there to turn him around and put him back on a plane. Why would you send her? Why would you send her? Why would she agree to that? She ends up getting killed. And why? Just to show that Bond is very inconsiderate. Here's the thing that's just hitting me now. But I love, this story is great. I know it doesn't sound like it. I've been shitting on it for like 20 minutes, but the story is great because it's trying to every Bond movie is about something, right? Like Casino Royale is about what it takes to be 007. What does that do to a person? And how does he become the hardened soldier, a killer with a license to do so, a womanizing alcoholic? What makes 007 that guy? And what happens if that guy fell in love for real? And what would that do to him if he got betrayed? Great. You know? What's Skyfall about? Skyfall is a commentary on the 007 franchise in general. Is espionage relevant? You know, is 007 relevant in this day and age, in this society? How is espionage helping anything when we're all spying on each other? Also, the ghosts of our pasts come back to haunt us. You know, everything has a theme. What's Spectre about? I have no goddamn idea. You know why? Because that movie is shit. I hate that movie, and I have no idea what it's about, and it's crazy boring. But Quantum of Solace is about revenge and the toll it takes around the people around you. What happens when the people around you are caught in the crossfire of your path of revenge? And, you know, that's how Mathis is killed. And then later on the fields when she's drenched in oil and it's pumped into her body, and which is also, that's a great scene. It's a great scene to show. It's a callback to Goldfinger when there was that woman covered in gold, and it's also Mark Forster, the director, wanted to say that this is a commentary on that. You know, back in the Connery days, you know, gold was the most sought after thing or whatever, and oil is now more valuable than gold was back in the day, and so that's why it's the same kind of look, and oil is, you know, what everybody's after. And it's also a sign of the times. And the great thing about this movie is it's trying to tell you that, you know, in the old days of Bond, during the Cold War and everything, there was clear good and evil lines. You know, when Ian Fleming wrote Bond and right after World War II, after limping into a victory of World War II, he was like, well, I want to write a hero that will make us seem stronger and cooler and sexier, and, you know, sort of bring some gravitas back to the British monarchy. Like, we have a badass hero. His name is James Bond. His calling numbers are 007, and he's one of the fucking baddest British motherfuckers out there. And he fights evil. And the new Bond, after all of this, after the Cold War, after everything, after we, you know, America, the big governments in charge of the world, they seem like they're the good guys, but the good guys often make deals with the bad guys, blurring the lines between who's good and who's bad, who's on the path of righteousness and who's an evildoer. There's no, you know, every bad guy, every villain thinks they're the hero of their own story, and so, you know, the Americans are portrayed as opportunists in this movie, and the British are sort of at their wits' end, trying to go like, look, man, we also need oil. We need oil, and they need oil, and they need oil, and they need oil, and we're fucked. When the oil runs out, we're fucked. So we got to do deals with the bad guys. And so reel in Bond, and Bond's like, no, I'm trying to find the guy that killed my girl or got my girl killed. So I'm fuck you. I'm going to take down. I don't give a shit about your oil deals, baby. And, you know, that's what I think is so great about this movie. And convenient plot threads aside, and all of these, like as soon as Bond is done with the party, he finds Camille, he saves her from Dominic Green again, and then they buy a dude's plane. They trade a Range Rover for a giant cargo plane, which I'm almost certain that plane would cost more than a Range Rover. Am I right? I mean, I don't know anything about planes. I don't even know anything about Range Rovers, but I would think that plane would cost a little bit more, Like, you'd roll up in your Range Rover, and you'd be like, "Hey, gee, is this your giant cargo plane I'm sure you use for getting cargo to places?" Yeah, that's mine. Hey, if I gave you my Range Rover, can I have your plane? Absolutely not. No fucking way. What are you, insane? Do you know how much this plane costs? It's way more than that Range Rover. Plus, this is part of my business. There's cargo in it right now. I'm not going to just give you my plane. I got to take that fucking cargo places. I'm a small business owner. I'm trying to start my own UPS. And I don't need some British dude in a blood-stained suit coming up here trying to give me his fucking Range Rover. What kind of trouble are you in? What? Fucking absolutely not. Unless you have a gun and you're going to take it from me, I'm not taking that goddamn Range Rover. Fuck your Range Rover, bitch. I got my own Range Rover. I'm in the cargo business. You know how much money I make? I have no idea how much people who run cargo make. It's probably not a lot. But if you own your own plane, I would assume you make a lot. Anyway, Bond trades the Range Rover for this plane. And then they fly off. And then, of course, Dominic finds them somehow. It's said that it's like, hey, he'll make a lot more money. The plane owner guy will make a lot more money when he sells them out. But that guy just sell you out to who? Sell you out to, what do you mean sell you out? And it's never said if Dominic is tracking them. So who would he even know to sell you out to? How much connections could that guy possibly have? Anyway, so Dominic finds them, sends a fighter plane after them to shoot them down. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because even if Bond finds the water, what do you think he's going to do? You're going to own it anyway. You're going to own it outright. You're going to have the fucking guy who owns the land sign the land over to you. So what's even the fucking point of him shooting you down? That doesn't make any sense. Then, of course, when the plane is shot down, Camille and Bond jump into one of the sinkholes and land, and then when they happen to land right in next to the water, and they find out it's not about oil, it's about water. So great. They found it. They figured it out. They happened to crash in the exact right spot they needed to crash in. And then they, roll out. And then we get to the big final fight, and everybody's killed. And again, I know I have poked so many holes in this movie, but it's so fast-paced. It's so fun and fast-paced. There's a lot going on, and also not that much. So I feel like there's a great balance struck in this movie where, look, I can understand if you don't like it. I can understand if what I've said sort of mimics all the things you've ever thought about Quantum of Solace, and you're like, dude, you just proved me right. You opened the movie by trying to tell me that the movie is good, and you've sat there and said it's shit. But it's not shit. This is the thing. I objectively look at this and go, yeah, there's a lot of plot holes here. There's a lot of weird things happening. But I can't not love it. I can't hate it. I can't dislike it. I actively love this movie so much. All of the fight scenes are so well choreographed. The plane chase scene is tense and really fun to watch. The final fight. Bond being the final fight in the hotel, and Bond just fucking again going on a rampage and killing all of these motherfuckers, and then his axe fight scene between Dominic Green while the hotel is exploding. Cut to between Camille trying to get her revenge on General Medrano is so great. He doesn't kill Dominic Green, but he leaves him for dead. And then when he finds out where the Vesper's ex-boyfriend is, we find out that he's Quantum's fuckboy. That he goes around getting fucking having women fall in love with him who are in high government ranking government jobs to get information from them about things so Quantum can make moves. And this guy's dick is so big and his charm is so sweet that he can fucking make any woman fall in love with him, and then use that later when he's quote unquote kidnapped, so that she sells secrets out, sells her own fucking government secrets to Quantum, then he's killed off. How many fucking times is this guy gonna get killed off? You have the same face as the last guy. But that's just like his MO. He fucking gets his dick wet and then he gets the secrets. It's pretty hard to believe that that's his job in Quantum. It's pretty fucking difficult to think that that's what you came up with, that he's doing it again. I would, if he did it the one time, that makes a lot of sense. But the fact that this guy, he's that charming that he's able to just fucking go to any woman in government and be like, hey girl, you're hot and desperate. You want to fuck? You want to fall in love? Hey, oh no, I've been kidnapped. How do you even meet these women? Dude, what's the game? You know, if you ever been on dates, the same game doesn't work on different women. You can't use the same kind of game on different women. Whatever. It's so, but what's great is, you know, Bond takes this moment to go, you know what? I'm not going to take this man's life. I'm going to arrest him for his crimes. And that'll be my revenge. And I'm going to stop punishing myself and the people around me to get. And the whole idea of if you've ever wondered what Quantum of Solace is about, like the title of the movie, Quantum, I have it right here in one of my fun facts. That here it is. Don't worry, I had it pulled up. So Quantum of Solace, it's when the quantum of solace drops to zero, humanity and the consideration of one human for another is gone. You know, and that's what James is trying to avoid, his quantum of solace, or he's trying to get. Again, it's still pretty confusing. And maybe I'm just stupid, you know? Maybe I'm just dumb. But I love that. I love that, you know, we're finally finding out what quantum of solace means, sort of. I do love that Forrester wanted the action sequences to be based around the 4 classical elements of earth, water, air, and fire. And when you go back and rewatch the movie, you're like, oh yeah, exactly. Car chase opens the movie on the ground. They're around dirt, covered in dirt. There's a boat sequence to save Camille, which is on water. There's the airplane fight, and then the final confrontation in the exploding hotel. Great, because this movie is about the earth being used as a resource to further capitalism, essentially. You know, I'm going to use Earth's natural resources to fill my pockets. Environmental terrorism, essentially. And, fuck the people who live in this city, in this country. They don't need drinking water. They're going to need power. You know, they're going to need some power. And I love power. And I can give power to whomever I want. And the other more impressive thing about this movie is it's action-packed. It's fast. There's a lot going on. Yeah, there's some plot contrivances and there's some moments where you're like, that would never happen. But this movie was made during the writer's strike. The writer's strike of 07, 08, whatever it was. When we found out that Ellen DeGeneres is a piece of shit. That writer's strike. They weren't allowed to hire writers, but they have a deadline to meet. They have money to make because the writers don't want to work and they want to make sure that they make their money back. Without writers, you don't really have a movie. So they want what they're owed. That's why they went on strike. But they got to make this movie. They got a bare bones script. They weren't allowed to hire writers. And so Mark Forrester and Daniel Craig, who aren't writers, had to fucking write this movie themselves, and they didn't even get credit for it. They had to beef up the script and fucking make it an emotional story and give Bond stakes, and with no real screenwriting background. They fucking pulled it off. All right? They pulled that shit off. The fact that this was made during the writer's strike makes this movie that much more impressive. The fact that they were even to cobble together a story. With all of the shit, all the little plot holes aside, I think the movie moves along at a clip. Mark Forrester, it's one of the shortest movies. One of the fun facts here is a 2012 study by the University of Otago, I think, in New Zealand, finding it to be the most violent film in the franchise, whereas Dr. No featured 109 trivial or severely violent acts. Quantum of Solace had a count of 250, the most depictions of violence in any Bond film, even more prominent since it was also the shortest film in the franchise. Mark Forrester wanted this movie to feel like a bullet leaving a gun. It's fucking fast. Whenever there's all right, we have a moment of dialogue, bang, we're in a chase sequence. Boom, we're in a fight sequence. Bang, it's a car chase. Boom, it's a fight sequence. It's nonstop and still emotional. There's emotional highs, and I think there's some stakes at it. He's Bond. Has the same story as Camille, and he wants to help her get what she wants, which is revenge, so she can feel whole. And there's even this moment. They take this moment in the movie for Camille to go, he's dead, now what? My whole life was to take out this man, and now that he's dead, what do I have? What do I have in my life? And Bond reminds her, these people still need water. You could help. You can use this time now to stop being selfish, stop looking for revenge and destroying lives around you, and start helping lives. I mean, come on, man. Come on. And another fucking thing about this movie not having writers and having a comprehensive story is, what movie did have writers? Had a full team of writers? It had the same director from Skyfall. It had essentially the same team that made Skyfall one of the best Bond movies ever made. Fucking Spectre had writers. It had Sam Mendes, Daniel Craig. It had all of the moving parts to make this movie incredible. And that movie sucks so hard. Are you fucking kidding me? Here's the thing. You don't like Quantum, that's fine. But if you like Spectre over Quantum, if you have the balls to come and tell me that Spectre is better than Quantum, I will lick every piece of food you have before you get to eat it. I'll stick my finger, boink, right in the middle of your sandwich. I'll lick my finger first, then there'll just be a finger-sized hole in your sandwich. Eat it now, motherfucker! Spectre, boo! That movie is so goddamn boring. It is so boring. Bond falling in love with Vesper is at least semi-comprehensible. That, his falling for her, when I first saw the movie, I was like, okay. In Casino Royale, I was like, okay. Yeah, okay. Sure. I don't really, it feels like she's always mad at him, and that I don't see how they could fall in love. But all right, for the sake of the story, sure. They fall in love. Whatever. All right. It ultimately leads to, the whole big reveal that she's a mole, and what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? But they try to do it again in Spectre. These two motherfuckers, Craig and this woman, have no chemistry whatsoever. And they don't get together until like 40 minutes. I haven't seen this movie in a while, but they don't get together until like well into the movie. So we're just following Bond until we meet her, Inspector, and then we are led to believe that they fall in love. Why? So he has a fucking damsel in distress to save? What the fuck are you talking about? Also, can anybody tell me when they fell in love in that movie? Can you tell me when they fell in love? Pick the scene. Find the scene where they fell in love. There's no fucking way you'd be able to find it. You couldn't place a bet. As soon as they meet, she looks so annoyed he's there, and he doesn't even want to be there. James Bond doesn't want to be on this mission, and Daniel Craig doesn't want to be playing James Bond. It is very apparent. So you're gonna, and I hope we figure out what the fuck is going on in their love story on No Time to Die. I hope No Time to Die is good, but I mean, you got to be shitting me. You have Dave Bautista, Christoph Waltz, Sam Mendes. You got Spectre finally. You were able to get the rights for Spectre. They're the big bad guy, Blofeld. Come to find out that Blofeld has been, Spectre and Blofeld has been in charge this entire time. They are the bigger secret organization that's been running Quantum. So Quantum is a fucking lower tier organization. And also Blofeld has been using Quantum and other organizations to just fuck with Bond. You know who I don't like? James Bond. So I'm going to use my giant multi-billion-dollar evil organization to fuck with him. What? Oh, and also, we're brothers. What? You're fucking brothers? What are you talking about? No, you're not. Okay? You're not brothers. You're not brothers. You didn't use your evil organization to just play little evil pranks on James Bond. That didn't happen. You aren't real. Spectre, you're not real. That final fucking James goes into the building and all these little things are written on the wall. James, go here. James, go here. I set up this trap. I set up a trap for you to fucking, your girl's in this room and there's a bomb about to explode. I'm going to put you so high up in this building, there's no way you're going to survive. And then Bond's like, guess what? We're going down and we're going to land in a net that he set up. Huh? The fuck? Don't come at me with Spectre. All right? If you like Spectre, fine. But you also have to like Quantum. Those are the rules. Those are the rules. All right. And that's the show.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It's a solo episode talking about, again, one of my favorite Bond movies. I hope No Time to Die is as good as they are advertising. It looks cool as shit. I'm not that big of a Rami Malek fan after seeing him in Little Things. But, we'll see. We'll see what happens. If you could do us all a favor, do us all a flavor. Go to iTunes and give us 5 stars. Rate, review the show. Tell us you love us, and we would and we'll tell you we love you back. And where are we going to tell you that we love you back? At Well Actually Pod. You can also follow me at Kane Holloway. Don't forget to follow Holly on Instagram. Follow Brad too. They're in the description. You'll find their little link. at Well Actually Pod. Links are there. Patreon.com/WellActuallyPod. Throw in $1. Tell us you want to support the show. You're a nerd like us. You have opinions like us. Tell me your favorite Bond movie. Tell me your favorite Bond. Tell me who you love and which one's your favorite. I like a lot of the really trashy Bond movies. So Tomorrow Never Dies is one of my favorites. That movie is a big hunk of shit. I love it so much. And with all that said, I'm Holloway, Kane Holloway, and and I'm never gonna give you up. Bye.